Today we the students of 8th year going to present the story Great Stone Face. It starts like this. One afternoon, a mother with her little son Ernest was sitting at the door of their cottage. They were talking about the Great Stone Face. It was clearly visible in the bright sunshine. Thousands of people lived there. Everybody there was familiar with the Great Stone Face. It was a work of nature. Some huge rocks jointly looked like the features of human face from a distance. It also looked alive.
The giant face smiled on Ernest and looked kindly. He wished to hear its pleasant voice. He longed to see a man with such a face in order to love him dearly. The mother reminded Ernest of the prophecy. It was that a child would be born. He would become the greatest and the noblest person of his time. In manhood, his face would bear true likeness of the great stone face. The people had watched and waited for such a person in vain. The little boy hoped to live and see him. The mother strengthened his fancy. Ernest was a helpful and happy child. He grew up to be a mild and quiet youth.
Mom, son, I'm here. Come out.
Mom, I want to ask one question.
Yes, son.
Why this mountain like this?
My mother told that this mountain is the Great Stone Face. There is a prophecy about the Great Stone Face. In future, a child will be born like the face of the mountain. He will be the greatest person of his time.
Thank you, Mom.
The story continues with Gathergold. A young man named Gathergold had left the valley many years before. He had become quite a rich man there. He decided to return to his native valley. There was a rumor that Gathergold looked like the Great Stone Face. Gathergold had the face of an old man with yellow skin. The people considered him the image of the Great Stone Face. Ernest gazed up the valley. The stone face seemed to reject Gathergold as its likeness. Hello everybody, how are you?
Yeah, we are fine. Hey, Mr. Gadugar, you're looking same like the Great Stone Face.
Oh, yes, sir, sure. He's looking like the Great Stone Face. Who are you? He's Mr. Gathergold.
Doesn't he looks like the Great Stone Face?
Fear not, Ernest. He will come. He will come. Ernest gazed at the Great Stone Face. It seemed to say, He will come. Fear not, Ernest. The man will come.
Ernest had grown to be a young man. Every day he would go off by himself and gaze upon the great stone face. He wondered why its likeness was delaying its appearance. By this time, Gathergold had become poor and died without establishing his likeness with the stone face. Another son of the valley had joined the army as a soldier many years before. He had become a general by then and came to be known as Blood and Thunder on the battlefield. In his old age, he desired to return to his valley. The people considered him as the likeness of the great stone face. On his return, he was welcomed warmly. The gathering mistook him as the greatest man of all time. Ernest failed to recognize any likeness between Blood and Thunder and the great stone face. His heart assured him that the real copy had still not come.
Who are you?
I'm Army Chief. Why did you come here? I come here to visit my native valley.
You are looking at Great Stone Face.
Okay. Why is there so much of crowd here?
Hello, Mr. Ernest. A great army chief has visited our village today only. His name is Blood and Thunder.
As he's looking at the Great Stone Face.
Yeah, sure, he's looking like the great stone face.
But I don't think so. He's looking like the Great Stone Face.
Ernest still lived in his native valley. He was a simple-hearted man. He always worked for the betterment of the world. Though he was considered to be an ordinary man, yet he was humble and rich in thoughts. With the passage of time, Ernest became old. He had wise thoughts in his mind. He had become famous all over the world. Men came from distant places to see and speak to him. A new poet had appeared on earth while Ernest had been growing old. The poet was a native of Ernest Valley, but had stayed in distant cities for a long period. Ernest happened to read his songs. He thought the poet must be a likeness with the great stone face. He lifted his eyes to the mountain. The face seemed to smile but did not answer. The poet had heard of Ernest's character. One day he came to his door. Ernest was reading a book and glancing lovingly at the mountain from time to time. Ernest gave him shelter for the night. The great stone face looked kindly at the poet. The poet found Ernest wise, gentle and kind. Ernest was also moved by the poet's mind. It seemed the great stone face was bending forward to listen to the poet. Ernest examined the poet's features. He hoped the poet was the person he had been waiting for. The poet declared himself unworthy of the likeness of the stone face. His life was different from his poems.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Can you give me a shelter for tonight?
Of course, why not?
Okay, thank you.
What happened?
I heard about you. You are a very famous person.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I also heard your famous songs and poem.
Oh, really?
Yes.
What happened? Why are you sad?
I thought that you look like the great stone face, but you are not like that.
No, friend. I am not look like him because I do not have enough good qualities to match with Great Stone Face.
Okay, let's go outside and see the village.
Okay,
Let's go and meet the villagers.
okay, let's go.
Hello friend, he is a great poet and my friend.
Ernest used to speak to his neighbors every evening. The poet also accompanied him. The poet listened to his talk. He felt that Ernest's life and character were a far nobler kind of poetry than his own poems. Just then, the poet saw the great stone face. He declared Ernest as the likeness of the great stone face. Everybody agreed with him.
See this Ernest, he's looking like same the Great Stone Face.
Yes, you are right. Ernest still hoped that someone wiser and better than himself would appear sometime, bearing a likeness to the great stone face.